This is the second episode of the story of the lion and the animals. In the first episode, we enter the forest ruled by fear. A mighty lion had made himself king over all of the animals. His roar shook the valleys, his strength was unmatched, and every creature lived with the same question: who would be next? At last, the animals gathered and made a painful agreement. They would send one animal to the lion each day, so the rest of the forest could live in peace. For some time, the agreement continued. Every morning, one creature walked toward the lion's cave and never returned. Then, one quiet morning, the lot fell upon the smallest animal in the forest, a rabbit. The animals looked at him with sorrow. Some wept, some turned away. They thought his fate was already decided. But the rabbit did not panic. He took a deep breath. He looked once more at the forest he loved, and then he began walking toward the lion's cave. This is where our second episode begins. The journey of the rabbit had only just begun. Behind him, the forest waited in silence. The animals had watched him walk away toward the lion's cave. Some were afraid of him, some were angry with him because he had delayed, and some deep inside felt that this little rabbit was carrying a secret no one else could see. The sun rose higher, the lion waited, and with every passing moment his hunger became sharper. His patience disappeared, his anger grew. The animals had promised to send him one creature every day, but today no one had arrived on time. The lion paced before his cave, his claws struck the ground, his tail moved like a whip, his roar shook the stones around him. And then at last he saw something moving in the distance. It was the rabbit, small, slow, alone. The lion's eyes burned. He roared, "Why are you late?" The rabbit bowed low and spoke with respect. "My lord, forgive me. I did not come late because I forgot your command. I came late because something terrible happened on the way." The lion stepped closer. "What happened?" The rabbit lowered his voice. "My lord, the animals did not send only me. They sent another rabbit with me, a larger and better one. But on the way, another lion stopped us." The lion froze. "Another lion?" The rabbit nodded. "Yes, my lord, a powerful lion. He took the other rabbits from me. I told him that we belong to the king of this forest, but he laughed. He said, 'There is no king here except me.'" The lion's anger turned into fire. The rabbit continued carefully. "He said that if you are truly the king, you should come and see him." The lion could no longer remain still. His hunger was now forgotten. The rabbit was small, but the insult was large. Another lion had claimed his kingdom. Another lion had challenged his throne. The lion roared, "Take me to him." The rabbit bowed again. "My lord, I am afraid. He is fierce. He lives in a deep place. But if you command me, I will show you the way." گفت شیر آری ولی رب العباد نردبانی پیش پای ما نهاد. The lion said, "Yes, but by the Lord of all servants, you must walk with me step by step toward the trap." The lion thought he was going to punish an enemy, but the rabbit knew the path he was taking. They left the cave together. The rabbit walked ahead, the lion followed behind him. The forest watched them pass. The trees were silent, the birds did not sing. Every creature seemed to hold its breath. The rabbit did not run. He did not panic. He moved with patience, and the lion, full of rage, followed him. At last, they reached an old well. It was deep and dark. The water inside was still like a mirror hidden in the earth. The rabbit stopped. "My lord," he whispered, The lion is inside. The lion looked at him. Inside a well. Inside a well? Yes, said the rabbit. He's hiding there, but I am afraid to go closer. The lion looked at the rabbit and noticed his trembling. چون که نزد چاه آمد شیر دید که از رهان خرگوش ماند و پاو کشید. When the lion came near the well, he said, I smell a trick here. For a moment, the lion almost understood. For a moment, doubt entered his mind. But anger was stronger. Pride was stronger. The rabbit said, My lord, I tremble because I have seen him. He is there below. If you look, you will see him too. The lion stepped closer to the edge. He looked down into the well, and there in the water he saw a lion. Of course, it was his own reflection, but the lion did not know that. He saw his own face in the water and thought it was another lion. He saw the rabbit's reflection beside him and believed that the stolen rabbit was there too. Then he roared. The well answered with an echo. To the lion, it sounded like another lion roaring back. Now his anger became complete. شیر عکس خویش دید از آب تفت. شکل شیری در برش خرگوش زفت. When the lion leaned into the well, he saw his own reflection in the water. چون که خصم خویش را در آب دید، مر ورا بگذاشت و اندر چه جهید. He saw his own reflection as his enemy. How often you see wrong in others? The lion did not stop to think. He did not ask whether water could hold a lion. He did not ask why the enemy looked exactly like him. He did not ask why the roar came back with his own voice. He only saw a rival, and that was enough. With all his strength, the lion jumped into the well. There was no enemy waiting for him. There was only water, only darkness, only his own reflection. The lion fell into the well and drowned. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the rabbit turned back toward the forest. He walked alone just as he had left. But now he was not walking toward death. He was carrying news of freedom. When the animals saw him returning, they could hardly believe their eyes. The rabbit was alive. The lion was gone. The forest had been saved. The animals gathered around him. Some cried out in joy, some bowed their heads, some danced, some simply stood in silence, unable to understand how the smallest creature among them had defeated the king of the forest. At that moment, all the animals gathered together, joyful and laughing, full of delight and excitement. The rabbit had no army. He had no claws. He had no roar. He had only patience, timing, and intelligence. The lion had strength, but he did not have control over himself. The rabbit was weak, but he understood where the lion was weakest. And perhaps this is why Rumi's story remains alive, because it is not only about a lion and a rabbit. It is about power and wisdom. It is about anger and patience. It is about what happens when strength moves without thought. The lion looked into the well and saw an enemy. The rabbit looked at the same well and saw a way. The well was the same, the water was the same, but the eyes were different. And maybe this is the question Rumi quietly leaves for us. When we look into the world, what do we really see? Do we see truth, or do we see the reflection of our own fear? Do we see an enemy, or do we see something inside ourselves? The story does not need a long explanation. It is enough to remember the image. A mighty lion destroyed by his own affliction, a small rabbit saved by patience and wisdom, a forest freed not by force but by understanding, and a well silent and deep, showing each one what they were ready to see. The rabbit returned to the animals, the lion remained in the well, and the forest breathed again. That is the end of the story, but perhaps for the listener, the real story begins now. If you like this story, subscribe and wait for other stories from Rumi.